Hello and welcome to the Accommodation Open Week. It's really good to have you with us. So this is our first session, Your Home from Home, and today we are going to cover in brief everything you need to know about halls accommodation, the City of Southampton, and also give you an overview of our student life wellbeing team. Firstly, let me introduce myself. My name is Carl Lickis and I'm a Deputy Manager in Residential Services. Today we have a panel of people and student ambassadors who are going to give you all the information you need to know about our halls. I'll introduce you to each person as we go to their different sections. As I mentioned, this is the first session of 4. We have 3 others coming up this week. Just a reminder, you can still register for these if you haven't already. So we have sessions tomorrow on which halls is right for me. On Wednesday, we have a session on safe and secure, all the support and wellbeing that we have on offer for you. And on Thursday, we have a step-by-step guide on how you can apply for halls. So as I say, if you still need to register for those, you can do. Also worth highlighting that our applications are now live as well, so you can apply for halls anytime this week if you so wish. Right, first of all, just to highlight actually as well at all those sessions, we'll have different contributors every day, more student ambassadors you can speak to as well. And each session we will have presentations for the first half of the live event, and then for the second half we will go into a Q&A using your pre-submitted questions and also your questions that you can post in the Q&A during this chat, during this live session, sorry. First of all, I'm going to hand over to Director of Residential Services, Trudy Vout, who's going to give you an overview of our halls at the University of Southampton. Over to you, Trudy.
Hello, I'm Trudy Vout and I'm the Director of Residential Services, and I'd also like to welcome everybody this evening to the first of the Accommodation Services Virtual Open Weeks. We hope you enjoy it. There's quite a lot of information going on, and sorry, I'm fairly new at digital stuff, so I apologise. I've just had to make sure I've got all the right buttons working. What I wanted to say was that there's quite a lot of information going on this evening, and don't worry if you don't catch it all the first time. There'll be reiterations and other opportunities to learn a lot more about what's going on in the sessions as we move through the week. Very quickly, just to say what the philosophy of the residential services at the University of Southampton is really just to offer you the best living experience we can. We're here to assist you with the transition from living at home with your parents really to independent living. Now, some of you may have already done that, and this is a fairly easy journey for you, whilst others may need more support in order to make that change. And one of the things that we do at the University of Southampton is provide you with 24/7 support. That's either through the residential services team itself or through our student services team. And that's anything from losing your key, which most of you will do sometime during the first year, I can almost guarantee it, to issues with homesickness or actually trying to access services, where to go, where do the buses run from, how do you get a bus pass, how do you collect your parcels, how do you report a maintenance issue. There will be a whole myriad of things that we'll be able to support you with, and my colleague Martin will be able to tell you a little bit more what student services do for you in his presentation later. Just to give you an idea about where we are in the city, Highfield and Avenue campus are sort of to the north of the main city centre, and our accommodation really circles that. We've got 5 main sites which you can see on this map here. Some of them are large portfolios with 1,100, 2,300 or 1,700 rooms, while some of them are slightly smaller at 400. All of them are probably around a 40-minute walk at most, but cycling is very easy. But most of our students tend to use the Unilink bus pass, which is provided to them within the residence's fees. It's a very broad network and it works very well. The buses run quite frequently. They've kind of evolved to meet the needs of students, to be honest with you, certainly on some of the more student-centric routes. So they could run anything from every 10 minutes to up to every 30 minutes. But I suggest you ask one of the students about how that works, because they're going to be much better placed to tell you how the buses run than I am. And this is how you make sure that you can apply to the university. Again, you will hear this again in another session later in the week. But if you do definitely want to be living with the University of Southampton, you will need to apply by the 1st of August, which is the deadline. And you would need to be a first year student and a new student, but it doesn't matter whether you put us down as a firm or an insurance choice. It works exactly the same. You just need to apply before the 1st of August deadline. There is a session on this on Thursday. If you want to know more, please do attend that. A little bit of information about what residential services have been doing as well as looking after our students during the pandemic. We've managed to complete the refurbishment of one of our social spaces up on the Wessex Lane site, which you saw on the map earlier. This is called a boiler house, mostly because it was a boiler house and doesn't look anything like a boiler house now. We've spent some time and effort making this into a social space, which I think you'll find with Martin's team and a number of other residential services teams, the sort of place where you'll end up going to make friends. Events will be put on there. There's some learning spaces in there, so there's some desks as well as some sofas and some big screens. So everything you need when you're fed up with sitting in your room and your kitchen, that there's a nice easy place for you to go to. And similarly, we've spent some time a couple of years ago refurbishing all of the social spaces up at our Glenair site. This is the cinema room, gaming room. You are allowed to put your feet on the table, so don't worry about that. Next door to this, there's a room which has got a table tennis table and a foosball table, and then other screens and other facilities for taking part in events in the evening. And similarly, there's also a very nice learning space in the main building up at Glenair. So, and it's true on all the sites, all of them have got social and learning spaces. So whichever site you choose, there will always be somewhere for you to go and meet your friends outside of the rooms. This is a new block, again, that we're bringing back online this year. It's been refurbished over the last 12 months. And just to give you an indication of the kind of quality of this accommodation, it's an enhanced plus offer, which means it's 1 bedroom between 2 with decent sized bedrooms and good sized kitchens and dining rooms. So do have a good look at all of the information available to you on the website about the accommodation, and make sure you attend, because people will be able to tell you not only what the accommodation looks like, but what it is like to live in. And again, I'll leave that to colleagues who've lived in some of these accommodations to give you the lowdown on that. What's included? It says what it says on the tin, realistically. All utilities, so you don't have to worry about any gas bills or electricity bills, internet service and Wi-Fi, which is actually a really strong Wi-Fi connection. It's done very well this year. It's been thoroughly tested because we've had a lot of people in halls this year using it 24/7, I think. So yeah, Wi-Fi services all included. There's 24-hour reception and security, which is there 365 days a year. So if you are in halls, there is always somebody who is going to answer the phone and be there to look after you. And as I mentioned earlier, access to information, advice and support. We will be providing cleaning of all of the communal areas, be they social or circulation space around your flats. The Unilink bus pass, which I mentioned earlier, room contents insurance, secure bicycle storage. We're finding more and more students bringing bicycles to campus. So yeah, we've increased plenty of bicycle storage on our sites. Student-led halls committees, which we undertake in collaboration with our colleagues in the student union. This is an opportunity where if you've got something you'd like to say, some feedback, we like compliments, comments and concerns, we'll take all of them, and this is one of the best forums in order to do that, so we can take action on what feedback you'd like to share. And then we run a number of halls events across the year. Again, I'm not going to tell you what Martin is going to tell you in a while about a number of the events that they hold in order for you to meet friends and just get to know your way around. But certainly residential services will put on events just to help you with the simple stuff. How do you report a maintenance request? Where do you collect your post and parcels? Where do the buses come from? How does your recycling work? How do you actually live in accommodation at the university? So there'll be lots going on for you to join in. And this is the team that will help deliver that for you. A well-rounded motley bunch. They're very approachable and they very much enjoy working with us. As you can see, they've all got their shades on, hiding in this. It was a summer photograph. And they've been working very hard this year, and we're very proud of them because they've been helping us very much help our students survive very successfully through this quite difficult year. And just to give you an idea of some of the things that we've been doing this year, and which we very strongly hope we won't be needing next year, some of the pandemic response issues that we've had. So we've put in some more infrastructure. So we've put screens into our receptions, which I have to say I expect may well be there when you come in September next year. They may not, but I think we're all waiting to see what happens as we move through the summer. And we've also got sanitizer units on every entrance to the block, so you can sanitize your hands before entering and leaving. We've spent a lot of time trying to interpret government guidance to students to make sure that everybody understands what's expected of households, what they should and should not be doing. And we've helped students form households, anybody who might have ended up in accommodation and needed to bubble with other people. We've done a lot of work with Martin's team around that as well. And like everyone else, we've been looking after anybody who's needed to self-isolate, and these things will remain in place next year. So people who've been self-isolating, they'll get a food parcel, they get assistance with post and parcels, there will be delivered to them, the laundry can be done, and again there's that 24/7 wraparound service, so that for any need that you have whilst you're self-isolating or quarantining, the University of Southampton Residential Services will be there to help you, and we will continue to provide touch point cleaning. So that's my very brief overview of the residential services at the University of Southampton. Like I say, there's a question and answer session later on this evening, and then there are more sessions during the week. There are contact details on the university website, as I'm showing here on my slide as well. But for now, I'd like to thank you for listening. I hope you get everything that you need out of this session, and I will pass back to my colleague, Carl.
Thank you for that, Trudy. I'd just like to make a slight correction to something you said, Trudy, in terms, I think it was just a slip of the tongue. With the Enhanced Plus, you said it was a bedroom between two. It's individual rooms, but it's actually a bathroom. So the ratio is that there's one bathroom per two people who are in the flat. So just to clarify that. So thank you for that. Just to highlight as well, alongside these sessions, as I say, there is a lot of information coming towards you this week. We do have our accompanying event webpage, which is live at the moment. There's lots of additional content on there as well. There's lots of additional videos you can look at as well, and links to other resources. So make sure you check that out. What I would say is that there's lots of videos you can check on there, and there's also a video that just gives you a nice overview of what the city of Southampton is like. But I'm actually going to go now into a presentation about Southampton and give you a bit of an overview of the city itself, and also not to forget Winchester as well, where we also have one of our accommodation campuses. So in terms of Southampton, the city, in terms of our location, we're on the sunny south coast. We're situated between two national parks. Southampton is a city of around 250,000 people, and we've got good transport links to the major London airports, and London itself, it's only about an hour and a half, 2 hour journey on the train. I think some services are even as quick as an hour. But what's it like for students? So, as I say, 250,000 people, but we do have a student population in Southampton of over 33,000 students. So, as you can imagine, students are well catered for in the city. In terms of affordability, NatWest Affordability Student Living Index, rates Southampton highly as an affordable city for students to live in terms of costs involved for student living in the city, but also in terms of wages you can get from job opportunities and other forms of income like that within the city as well, and factoring all those things in. It's an affordable place to eat out or go for a night out. Again, I appreciate at the moment we're in a pandemic, but as restrictions are hopefully lessened during the year, then again there'll be more opportunities to access all those kind of facilities as well. Southampton is a safe city as well. It ranks again highly in the OnePoll safest cities in the UK. It ranked 6th in that study. So again, Southampton's a safe place to live. So again, that's a good thing to have in mind. There's lots to do in the local area, and that's in addition to all the offerings from the university and the student union in terms of societies as well. And I'm going to take you over some of those things now. So as I say, there's lots in Southampton in terms of the city centre itself. There's the large West Quay shopping centre. There's lots of shops, clubs, bars, restaurants and cafes. There's an IKEA. There's lots of supermarkets, both large and some more of the more local ones, like your Tesco Express, your Sainsbury's local, those type of things. So there's lots of options in terms of both shopping for kind of social things or your clothes and that lot, but also in terms of your food and your essentials. Again, the city has live music and comedy venues and lots of activities going on there. There are also festivals that go on through the year as well. So there's lots of things to do, including, again, cinemas, escape rooms. There's lots going on as a city, as you can imagine. And that's not just in the city centre itself, but there's also other areas with high streets, such as Portswood, which was one of the, again, a main student area. Green spaces are a big thing in Southampton as well. In total, there are 33 parks within the city limits. We've just got a few images on the screen here. The Riverside Park, which is right next to Wessex Lane Halls, which is a lovely green space alongside the River Itchen. There's a pitch and putt, there's lots of sports pitches, a skate park. There's also just a nice place to go for a walk, those kind of things. We've got Watts Park, which is near Mayflower Halls and City Centre. And the largest space in Southampton is Southampton Common, which is a great place to go for a walk, a run, exercise, whatever it is. But there's large open green spaces, but there's also lakes as well. So it's a great place to go. Nice place to walk for a study break, that kind of thing. So again, there's lots of green spaces you can make use of in the city. In terms of sports facilities, the university owns a lot of sports facilities itself, but in addition to that, there's lots of sports facilities that you can access as well. Southampton each year, again, pandemic allowing, has a half marathon and marathon each year. There is a golf club, dry ski slope, and Southampton has an outdoor sports centre as well. And I say this is in addition to all the other university facilities that are available, such as Wide Lane, which is pictured here with its sports pitches. As you're probably well aware, Southampton is a coastal city. So again, this provides more opportunities as well to do water sports. So whether that be at one of the university's water sports campuses, so there's one that's situated right next to Wessex Lane where the rowing team, you can do often meet. There's also canoeing, you can do rifle shooting and archery and things at that centre as well. The university itself owns a boat and a yacht which you can actually either take out yourself if you've got the necessary qualifications, or you can be taken out on it. I've done that a couple of times myself. It's really nice to do on a summer or spring evening. It's £10 per person. It's really nice to get out on the water, particularly if, like me, you don't have any kind of boat experience yourself. It's a really nice opportunity to be able to do that. I've got a picture here, as I say, of the facilities that are near Wessex Lane on the right hand side there. As I say, there's lots of opportunities for windsurfing, sailing, canoeing, rowing, whatever your sport is, and sporting choices in terms of water sports. As a city, Southampton is home to a Premier League football team, and we also have the cricket ground of Hampshire, which is both for county cricket and the 100 tournament, which hopefully will be held this year, but in addition holds many international fixtures as well. So there's lots of sporting, high-class sporting events that go on in the city as well. Not to forget Winchester. Winchester is where our Winchester School of Art is and our Erasmus Park halls. It's about 10 miles from Southampton. It's easy to go there on the train. So again, if you're a student there or whether you're based in Southampton, it's definitely worth a visit. Again, it's a lovely historical city. It used to be a former capital of England many, many years ago under the reign of King Alfred. It has many historical things that you can look around, but in addition to that, there are lots of shops, bars, cafes, and it's just a really nice place to have a walk around, and right on the edge of the South Downs as well, and some green areas as well within the city. Each year it has a Christmas fete within the cathedral grounds, which is really nice and definitely worth a visit. And so there's lots of historical sites that you can have a look around. In terms of the wider area, as I said, we're between two national parks. To the west, we have the New Forest National Park, which has got loads of places to go for walks, mountain bike trails. It's great for biking. You'll just find ponies just wandering around in the New Forest. It's really a scenic area to have a look around. And if you go to the west, we are next to the South Downs National Park, which again is a bit more hilly, but again, plenty of beautiful scenery, and again, great place for walking, cycling, or just outdoor pursuits. And then again, if you've got a bit more time, or maybe between terms, those kind of things, you can venture a bit further afield. You can get a ferry from Southampton to the Isle of Wight. Again, if the Isle of Wight Festival is on, then lots of people tend to do that. Another place you can have a look around. We don't have any beaches in Southampton, unfortunately, but we are very near a number of beaches, both in the New Forest, and also if you want to get a short train journey to Bournemouth or Poole, you can go to Bournemouth Beach, or even head off to Sandbanks if you like. And again, you can have a bit of a gawp at some of the expensive properties there as well if you wish. So that is just a general overview of Southampton and Winchester. As I say, there's a lot going on, lots to do, but it is a really great place to be a student. So that's about our halls and about the city of Southampton and Winchester. But now I'm going to hand you over to Martin Hand, who is director of our student life team, and he's going to give you a bit more information on the welfare services that are available to you at Southampton.
Thank you, Cole. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Martin Hand and I manage the Student Life team at the University of Southampton. The Student Life team is the university's 24/7 student wellbeing service and are one of the teams within the wider Student Services department. Our aim is to support and develop the student life experience. This includes proactive and reactive measures such as events, workshops, campaigns and crisis support, with the sole vision of helping students achieve the most positive experience whilst at our university, and more specifically for today whilst living in our halls. We provide a confidential wellbeing support service and can assist on any issue, no matter how big or small, that is having an impact on your wellbeing. We are available for all University of Southampton students, whether they live within halls or private rented accommodation. So if you do choose to move on to a private accommodation after a year in halls, you are still able to access our service and support. Student Life also acts as the first point of contact for wellbeing issues through the night and at the weekend. We are a mobile and fluid team and are able to travel and respond to changing priorities. We have a presence in halls and on our multiple teaching campuses, as well as locations such as the library, particularly in peak times such as exam and assessment periods. You will see our team around in our distinct purple uniform, and we're always on hand to help with any issues that arise. The real key and unique aspect to our Student Life team is that we are a true 24/7 all year round service. We understand that university life and student life never stops, and our service reflects this and continues to be available during all closure periods. So for example, we still have full-time staff available and working on Christmas Day. Our team truly are available at any time of day or night to help support students. We can be contacted through a variety of methods, including email, phone, in person, and also via our recently introduced 24/7 online chat. Some of our key objectives in supporting you through your time here begin from providing a warm welcome to Southampton and helping you settle in comfortably and setting a positive tone for the rest of your year. We look to provide a range of welcome events, activities and flat visits, and provide practical advice such as directions for nearest shops, maps of your local area, as well as other facilities within Southampton. We provide support to your wellbeing through both a reactive and proactive approach. Our aim is to help in encouraging a fun yet study conducive environment. We are available to support you with a wide range of issues which may occur during your time here, such as concern for a friend or flatmate, changes to your personal circumstances, or physical or mental health issues, for example. We also aim to work with your halls committees and your student union as much as possible to ensure that the student voice within halls is represented and that we listen to your feedback. There is never an unsocial time to contact us. No student should feel that they have to sit on a problem or worry and wait until the following day. Our team never closes, and there really is always someone available to talk to and to listen to you. We work closely with a wide range of other teams and services which cover all aspects of student life and are able to signpost you towards these in a smooth process for if your problem is in a specific area. Throughout the course of the year, we also host a range of events, workshops and activities to help develop the social element of your time in halls. All of our events are free and non-alcohol based, with the aim to be inclusive to all. In the images on this slide, you will see some snapshots of some of the examples of events that we hold, such as seasonal occasions like Halloween, Lunar New Year, Christmas. We also look to hold social competitions with prizes for you and your flat to win, for example, bake-off competitions, pool and table tennis tournaments, retro gaming events, a student life book club. Throughout the year, we also look to provide a range of workshops with a focus on various themes, such as exam stress, homesickness, financial advice and budgeting. But the real key thing is that we do have a blank canvas in terms of the events that we can host, and we're always keen to hear ideas from students as for what they would like to see be held. We work with other key departments across the university, as well as external support providers, to help support and signpost students experiencing some of the issues given as an example on this slide. This collaborative approach includes working with multiple departments, such as residential services, to ensure that any changes to your needs and requirements within halls are supported as much as possible. The wider student services team, most notably our specialist practitioners within enabling services, where we can provide a smooth referral process for anyone requiring more in-depth clinical support. We work closely with security department to help in ensuring that all students feel safe and supported whilst on our campuses and in our halls. We can also work closely with your faculty staff to ensure that you are supported academically and can work with them for if you are experiencing any issues which are having an impact on your studies. We have a close relationship with SUSU, who is your student union, to work collaboratively in addressing any key themes which are causing concern, and also host some joint events and campaigns with them. We also have experience in supporting students in more crisis situations, and we can act as a bridge to emergency services in these circumstances. We can be contacted through various channels, whatever you feel most comfortable with. I would really encourage you all to follow our Facebook page to keep up to date with what we are offering, and you can start to get a bit of a sample of things as hopefully restrictions ease and we can put on more of our traditional events. But thank you for listening to me, and we look forward to hopefully seeing you in Southampton.
Thank you for that, Martin. Again, it's really good to have that service available. Again, just gives you that extra peace of mind that you've always got someone on hand that you can talk to. Next, we're going to get a bit of a student perspective on University of Southampton halls. So now I'm going to hand you over to Anna, who can give you a bit of her experience from living in Glen halls.
Hello, my name's Anna and I'm currently a third-year biology student at the university. So I chose to go to Southampton because it was fairly close to where I live at home, so it's about an hour-and-a-half drive away. And Southampton has good transport links, so they have the Unilink bus service and also 2 train stations, so it makes it really easy to get home when you want to. I also chose the city because it's nice and green and it has lots of things to do there. So there's lots of shops and restaurants, and there's also like dry ski slopes and lots of cinemas as well. And I also really like the university campus, so the main Highfield campus is also really green and it had really good facilities for all the different subjects. So I joined Southampton in 2018, and a couple of months before I'd come to the open day here and really liked it, and then I visited again the accommodation open day. So hopefully this sessions during this week will give you a good insight like it did for me. So there's a variety of different halls that you can choose at the university, and they're all slightly different. So some things you may want to consider are the location of the halls. So is it close to the city centre or is it closer to the campuses? Also, how many people are in the flat with you? So I lived with 10 other people, but I think you can live with even less, like maybe 6 other people. And you can also have a look at the different facilities on site. So I know that Glenare and Mayflower both have gyms on site as well. So for me, I chose Glenare because I wanted to be close to campus. So the biology building is on Highfield, so it took me about 15 minutes walk to get there. And there's also cycle lanes as well, so it's really easy if you bring a bike as well. So as I said, I did live with a lot of other people. I lived with 10 other people, so it was a really good opportunity to meet lots of new people and also talk to people from the flats around as well. And it was nice to do so in a safe and enclosed space. So I felt really like secure living there and moving away from home because of the 24/7 security on site, and also student life were there as well. And they also arranged events. So I remember in my first year, they brought farm animals to Glen Eyre. So there were like alpacas and donkeys, which was pretty cool. And they also do outdoor cinema screenings and barbecues when you join and throughout the summer. I did find it really easy to settle in over the first few weeks because there were lots of support given by the university and the halls team. And also everyone was in the same position, so you knew that all your friends were completely with you as well. My best advice would be to consider what means a lot to you. So do you want to be close to the city or further away? Things like that. And also make sure you chat to everyone you meet. So if you want to hear more about the different types of accommodation, so Glen Eyre, Wessex Lane, etc., tune into tomorrow's session where you'll find out more.
Cool, thank you for that, Anna. Yeah, as you point out, we've got an in-depth session tomorrow, which is going to cover everything you need to know about all our different hall sites with insights from both our site supervisors and also our student ambassadors. So again, if you haven't already registered, as a reminder, you can still register for that event. I'm now going to hand over to another student ambassador, Augustine, who's going to give you an overview of his thoughts of the City of Southampton and his hall's experience.
Thanks, Carl. Hi everyone, my name's Augustine. I'm a fourth year medical student and currently I'm living in a private rental accommodation, but I stayed in the halls for 2 years in a row. I initially applied for Southampton because I actually wanted a university that was far enough from home that I can essentially be away from my family, but not too far that I can't get back easily. Southampton is very well connected, as we've previously mentioned, to major cities, including London, which is where I'm from. And being able to be easily connected meant that I was comfortable enough knowing that an hour and 15-minute journey on the train isn't that far. There's quite fairly cheap tickets if you book early enough for the trains, and also there are coaches that run from here to London quite regularly, and also from here to other areas and other cities, which if you are into traveling around, you can actually enjoy the cheap fares but get the scenic routes and the nice experience as well. I initially applied for halls because I wanted to be able to make new friends, a new environment, and essentially in a way where it's actually quite comfortable because everyone is in the same boat. You're meeting, everyone's coming together all in a new environment, and I feel like with that experience and the huge support you get initially from the student life team who put up events to able to meet other people, not just from your own flat, but from your own halls and also from other hall sites as well, meant that overall you actually get to meet a wide range of people. And one thing I particularly liked about halls actually was the fact that you weren't you weren't put in clusters based on your course. You were put into groups of students from wide range of courses, wide range of backgrounds, and that's something I really enjoyed because you spend a lot of time on your lectures and on your with your course mates, but it's actually a good experience to be able to meet other people from other courses and other backgrounds and actually find out more. And I've made long-term friends from people that I probably wouldn't have been able to have contact with if I wasn't in halls of residence with them at the beginning. And through that, you get to try out different societies. I ended up trying out a Japanese society just because my flatmate said, "Oh, come along to this," and it was surprisingly really fun and interesting, and something that made me even want to travel to Japan, for example. And for me, the huge amount of societies there are in Southampton is always enticing, and it is never explored enough as a student. I feel like there's so much variety and there's so much choice, but there is an opportunity for everyone to get involved, whether it is in the university, in your halls, or on your course. Southampton in general has been a great university so far, and it's quite sad I'm coming close to the end actually, but I enjoyed halls that much that I stayed another year to get the experience again. But that's a little bit about me, and I'll be able to answer questions later on when we do the Q&As as well.
Excellent, thank you for that, Augustine. And again, it's worth highlighting that yeah, we don't. One question we quite often get is, do we allocate people based on their course? And we don't. So you will be in a mix. You know, quite often in your accommodation, it will be a mixture of people from different courses, different backgrounds. So again, it's a great opportunity to meet people. And also, and we'll touch on this later in the week as well, you can apply to come back into halls for a second year, which again we'll cover in our how to apply for halls session later this week on Thursday. We'll now move on to the Q&A. So again, and we'll ask as many questions, answer as many of your questions as we can as possible. If we don't get through everything, we will do our best to make sure that everyone gets answers to their questions after the event. So any that we don't get to, we'll look to get answers, and we may even put it into a short video just so that nobody misses out on getting their questions answered. So many thanks to everyone who pre-submitted questions, but also you can put your questions in the Q&A now. So we will start making our way through some of those and see how many we can get through before the end of the session. So firstly, I think this isn't a question for you, Trudy. Do allocations of rooms work on a first come, first served basis?
Thanks, Carl. No, they don't. We actually allocate after we've received all the applications on the 1st of August for guaranteed students, and they are allocated on a number of factors actually, which include age of applicants, postgraduate or undergraduate applicants. We like to mix our flats with gender, so we have as much of a balance as we possibly can in there. And then if anybody's expressed preferences about quiet study areas or alcohol-free living, or indeed if anybody likes to be in a single gender accommodation, we also take all of those into account. It is a very complex set of activities that happen after the 1st of August to try and make our households work as much as we possibly can, but no, they're not allocated on a first come, first served basis.
Cool, thank you for that, Trudy. Next question I was going to field was, we've had a number of different questions regarding how applying for halls works if your Southampton is your insurance choice and whether you have to apply at a different time. So in regard to that, if Southampton is your insurance choice, you apply exactly the same as you would if Southampton is your first choice. So as I say, applications are currently open, and to be covered by the guarantee, you just need to get that application before the 1st of August of whichever year you're starting. As I say, if Southampton is your insurance choice, still get that application in, because what it does is it guarantees you an offer of accommodation. If it then comes to August and you get that offer and you're going to your first choice university and you're not going to Southampton, you can ideally reject it, or you can just let it expire. Therefore, you don't need it. So if Southampton is your insurance choice, as I say, just get that application in. It gives you that peace of mind. You've got accommodation if you need it, but you're not tied into anything financially if you don't need it. So again, it's just giving you that peace of mind and just making life as easy as possible for you. Moving on to the next question. Going to hand this one over to you, Trudy. It's, how are COVID guidelines followed in self-catered kitchens?
Thanks, Carl. Essentially, in self-catered kitchens, we treat the occupants of the flat as a household. So you would behave as much as you would if you were at home with your own family or with your own set of friends. So you create and form a household in the same way that you have at home. How you manage that is actually between yourselves, but we do recommend that you keep plenty of ventilation in your cooking spaces, and that if you want to, not everybody is in the kitchen at the same time. You might have a bit of a timetable for cooking, but it is very much about what flatmates want to do, and it has to be agreed between yourselves. Okay.
Cool, thank you for that, Trudy. Now, one I'm going to hand over to the student ambassadors. Anna, would you be able to answer to what extent can we personalise our rooms?
Yeah. So you can personalise your rooms up to an extent, but obviously you can't cause any damage to your room, so you shouldn't be sticking things like on the walls and ripping paint off. But you can decorate your room with like fairy lights as long as they're battery powered. You can have plants, and you can also put up photos. So I know that my room had a pin board, so it's actually quite nice to have photos up of home, so it stops you feeling as homesick. So yeah, you can personalise your rooms, but just don't cause any damage.
Cool, thank you. Right, we've had a question here. Are there any libraries or independent study rooms inside each accommodation? James, are you okay if I hand this one over to you? This is James Elliott, one of our supervisors in residential services.
Absolutely. So each of our halls has a dedicated study area. So there's places that you'll be able to study outside your room collaboratively, work with others. They do kind of differ between our halls. There's something actually that Trudy mentioned in her presentation, that some of the study spaces have been recently refurbished. So Glen has a kind of fairly new one that was refurbished in the last few years. Mayflower Halls has a very large study area. A lot of them have screens that you can kind of plug laptops into, so you can kind of work on stuff collaboratively, kind of put stuff up and kind of work through things. So it does depend on the site, but every site does have an area that you'd be able to study in. There's also the option of going to the library on main campus, which is fantastic because it's open very late, especially during exam time. It's a kind of wonderful place to kind of revise and get what you need to do done.
Cool, thank you, James. I think this is another one for the student ambassadors. What halls are best for a student who wants a party atmosphere? So, Sarah, could I pass that one over to you?
Yeah, sure. So I lived at Mayflower for all 3 years, so I'm still there now. And I'm gonna be quite biased and say, you know, Mayflower has a great party life. Mayflower is situated in the city centre, so near you is loads of different clubs if you're into that, like Oceana, and also you have loads of bars, which are really great. So I would say, like, if you are into kind of like party places, like Mayflower is really good because it's like really closely situated to all these like venues.
Cool, thank you for that. I mean, one thing I would say regarding this is that it very much depends on the people in the flat. So again, it depends very much whether someone, you know, it's not so much the location, but although that can help, as Sarah's just pointed to, but it also depends on the individual. So again, not everyone is into partying, so that some flats you find are quieter, others are a bit more energetic and out there. So again, it depends. There's all sorts of different kind of flats, and it changes every year depending on the people who are staying in those halls. Next, in terms of accommodation, how diverse are the halls? Are there mixed ethnicities? Again, probably one for the student ambassadors. I guess you touched on this a bit, Augustine, but could I get you to just say in terms of how diverse the halls are?
Yeah, absolutely. So the halls itself, because you are essentially allocated to people from different courses and backgrounds, excuse me, it does end up being quite diverse. I feel like it's, at the end of the day, it's about the experience you get is obviously heavily influenced by who you are surrounded with, and being able to come into university knowing that you're not going to be grouped according to your level of comfortableness, and you are going to be with other people that you may not have interacted with, is quite exciting. You get to explore different cultures, you get to actually form long-term friends, whereby you can actually be able to learn about what other people's ethnicities are, what their backgrounds are. And even through halls, and also meeting other people through societies, you can go the step beyond and actually give me more people as well. I think for me, I never felt like there was only it wasn't as diverse, or I never felt like there wasn't much a representation of other ethnicities. I felt like it was quite diverse throughout the different hall sites that I visited when I went to see other people, and my own flat and my own hall site as well. For me, for background, that's what I stayed in Archester Road. I don't think I mentioned that in my previous one.
Cool. Thank you, Augustine. Yeah, again, it's a very good opportunity when you come to university. It's a great place to meet people from different backgrounds. As I say, we don't group people by their course or anything like that. So it's a great opportunity to meet, as I say, people from different courses, different backgrounds. We are an international university, so lots of opportunities there. We've got a question here on explaining the differences between the room categories. So I'll pick that one up. So in terms of en-suites, we have standard and enhanced en-suites, and then in terms of our non-en-suite options, we've got standard, enhanced, and the enhanced plus, which Trudy referred to earlier in her presentation. In terms of the difference between a standard and enhanced en-suite, so in terms of a standard en-suite, you get your room, you've got the en-suite next to it, you get desk, bed, desk chair, those kind of things, and the ensuite has a shower, wash basin, mirror. That's kind of your standard kind of what you'd expect from an ensuite room. In terms of the enhanced, sometimes the rooms are slightly larger. So what I'd say is that if we categorize all our room types in terms of all the different room types by each characteristic, we would have lots. So what we've tried to do is group them by categories into a small number. So in terms of an enhanced offering, that could have a larger bed, it could be a slightly larger room, and also sometimes it depends on how recently refurbished the property is. So again, if it's a brand new property or recently refurbished, then again that is factored into the category. On the non-ensuite offerings, again standard, you would get a room, bed, desk chair, those kind of things. It would be then shared bathroom facilities, shared kitchen. In terms of an enhanced, then again, the enhanced plus, the beds are slightly larger. The ratios you're sharing with are slightly less in terms of bathroom facilities, as say 1:2. And in terms of the communal facilities, the kitchen in the enhanced plus also has a nice little lounge area as well. Between a standard and enhanced, again, it could be a number of things, but how recently refurbished the property is, how, in addition to that, how said recently refurbished, but also in addition to that could be having a wash basin or just general ratios. And again, we also factor in kind of location to these things as well, in terms of where we have the most demand. So there's a number of factors to come into it. It's not just a case of, you can say that they're like a uniform thing across, but that gives you a rough idea in terms of what the difference is between the categories. And again, if you check out our website then, or some of the 360 videos on the on-demand content on our event webpage, you'll be able to get a better view of those and see some of those things for yourself. Next question. If I hand this one over to you, Trudy, I guess you kind of mentioned this a bit earlier in terms of when you were talking about we don't do first come, first serve, but it says, does the accommodation get booked up quickly?
Not really. I mean, I think, yes, we can be full. Do we get booked up quickly? There are a lot of applications before the 1st of August. But then you will be guaranteed accommodation if you apply before the 1st of August. I think realistically, if you definitely want your first or second choice of accommodation, you will need to apply before the 1st of August. I think there is nearly always some rooms available, almost up until the beginning of September, but the choice of room will reduce the closer you get to the start of term. So yes, there is accommodation demand, and if you have certain set of preferences, make sure you apply early.
Cool. Thank you, Trudy. Yeah, again, if you take nothing away from this week, it's that 1st of August deadline. That really is key. And as I say, it just gives you that peace of mind that you're guaranteed that offer of accommodation. So, sorry, what else have we got coming in here? again, hand this on over to the student ambassadors. Anna, maybe I could hand this one to you. Is the accommodation at Southampton open to us all year, for example, throughout the summer?
Yeah, so when you start the contract in September, it does, I'm pretty sure it does run through, but you do have to vacate by a certain date, but this will all be made like clear to you. But if you're doing like nursing and have to stay over summer, I think they can find accommodation for you within the hall site. But yeah, so you don't need to like move your stuff over Christmas or Easter.
Cool, thank you for that, Anna. Yeah, just to kind of add a bit more to that. So yeah, all our contracts include Christmas, so you don't need to vacate for over the Christmas period. In some areas, but only a very select, we do have some conferencing, but that's made very clear when you apply, and you would have to vacate over Easter, but that's a very small percentage of our estate, and it's made very clear when you apply. So that can actually be something that you want to apply for as a preference if you think, actually, I'm not going to be around for Easter, so I'd rather not be in Southampton for that period. You may want to make the most of that. But yeah, from the start of your contract right through to the end, you don't need to vacate other than those areas I just mentioned over Easter. So for say 95% of our estate, from the contract start date right through to the end, you don't need to vacate, and it's your room, and you can, as I say, keep all your belongings in there, and don't need to worry about vacating. So one less thing to worry about. Right, what else have we got here? So there's a question saying, I noticed that one of the moderators said the moving in dates are the 25th to the 26th of September, but UCAS says my course starts on the 1st of September. Is there a mistake in this? If I just pick up on this one, so for a majority of students, yeah, courses would start in late September. There may be a small number of courses that do have earlier start dates, but what I would say is we are aware of these, and we do cater for these particular groups. So it's not many courses that would have that earlier start date, but again, if you require accommodation, I say with certain groups, as long as we're aware of them from faculties who highlight it to us, we can get accommodation ready for people to move in slightly earlier. But for what I would say, for a vast majority of you, your courses will start in late September, and therefore you wouldn't need to arrive earlier than that. But as I know that we have made arrangements for medical students on certain courses and groups like that. So again, if that is the case, don't worry about it. It's just that for a majority of our students, courses do start later, but don't worry, we're well versed in having contracts available or earlier start dates available for specific groups where there's an academic need. Another one for the student helpers, or student ambassadors, sorry. How do students cope with travelling between campuses and accommodation as it's quite spread out? Can anyone take that out from the student ambassadors?
I can, if you want.
Yeah. Anna, yeah.
So you can obviously see where your course, which campus your course has more time at. So if you do like marine biology, you often spend lots of time down at Knox. So maybe one in the city centre would be more appropriate for you. However, the Highfield campus and Boulderwood campus for engineering and Avenue, they're all within about 15-20 minute walk of each other, so I wouldn't be too concerned about getting between them, but quite a lot of people do bring their bikes, and there's lots of cycle lanes, and obviously if you do live in halls you get that free bus pass for the entire year. So probably from the city centre to one of the Highfield campus, it probably only takes about half an hour maximum, so just you need to account for that when you're travelling to and from lectures and things.
Cheers, thank you for that, Anna. Yeah, and that Unilink bus pass runs, as I say, very frequently, as Trudy mentioned earlier, in terms of throughout the year. So again, particularly at student time, so there's always a regular service that you can get on. So next question, James, I'm going to hand this one over to you. It says, when will we find out what accommodation we'll be in? So basically, when do the accommodation offers come out?
So the once basically everyone's got their results, so that's normally kind of from the middle of August onwards. We're talking kind of A-level and IB results. We'll start to get offers out to you. They go in kind of batches out from that point through to the middle of September. So the majority of students will hear in the first couple of weeks after that point, but it can take a little bit longer than that. Yeah, so from the middle of August onwards, and we'll let you know as soon as you've been allocated. But don't worry, it'll be in enough time for you to kind of get yourself sorted, work out where you're going, and get yourself moved in.
Cheers, thank you. Just to highlight to everyone, we've got 5 minutes left in the session, so again, we'll try and work through as many of the questions as possible. I understand there's a lot of questions coming in regarding specific hall sites. Just to highlight that we do have a session tomorrow on which halls are right for me. Again, so if you're able to attend live, that's 5 till 6 tomorrow, but we are recording all of the sessions as well. So again, you can catch up at a later date if you're unable to go to the live session itself. And we will answer a lot of the questions that are being asked on that subject tomorrow. But as I say, we'll try and get through as many as we can today. Right, sorry, what have we got next? Sarah, if I could hand this one over to you. As a current resident, it says, are people able to stay over in your room if they are not a resident of your hall? So again, I guess if I could get you to answer that, Sarah, but also highlight from your experience of being here 3 years that the last year may have been a bit different to previous years.
Mm-hmm. Yes, so you are allowed other people who are not residents stay over. In terms of this year, obviously, that's not been allowed. But hopefully, you know, in the future, people will be allowed to stay over. That's all I can really say.
Yes, yeah, so ordinarily, you are allowed to have people over to stay, and it's always nice to have friends or family come over to stay and see them and show them your kind of your student experience and show them what your kind of new home from home. But yes, with this year, we have had to be a bit more restrictive on what we can do for the obvious reasons, so that we can kind of keep people within their households, but again, people can socialise within their flat. So again, I guess one advantage is that you have got people within your household that you can socialise with, so maybe a few more options to socialise with there than you would get at home. So that is quite nice in that regard. Right. Again, another one for the student ambassadors, and I kind of touched on this earlier, but how safe are the areas, neighbourhoods around the different accommodations? Sarah, do you mind if I hand this one back to you as well?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, it's absolutely safe. Like I mentioned, I live in Mayflower, and sometimes I am guilty of the kind of the late night trip to Asda for some treats, especially like on a Friday night. So yeah, just a walk from Mayflower to Asda, and it's really safe. In normal times, you hear like you can see students like walking along the high street and on the main road. So there's always like people around, basically, and it just feels really nice, especially like on the Friday evening. Yes, I look forward to that once the pandemic is gone.
Cool, thank you, Sarah. Yeah, I think we all fancy a late night snack run to Asda or local shop every now and then. Cool. I had a question here. Are we allowed to bring electrical appliances like TVs for our rooms? If I quickly pick up on that one, yes, you can do. But one thing I would say is that it's not included in your as part of your hall's contract is we don't cover your TV license. So if you were using that television to watch TV, you would need to get your own TV license. But again, if you want a screen for gaming or whatever, as long as it is meets European or British standards and is using kind of relevant adapters and whatnot that are safe, then there's no harm in that. So yeah, you can bring those with you, but I would say that we also have in our common spaces, there's many screens that are that you can hook up with your devices, and we've got the cinema, kind of like gaming room at Glen Eyre Hall, so there's lots of options outside your room as well if you need a screen for any reason. And the new Enhanced Plus, they have a screen within the lounge kitchen area as well. Martin, if I could hand it to you just to kind of elaborate on, I guess, kind of following up on safety around halls in terms of support that's available for students within the hall sites as well.
Yep, that's no problem. Yeah, so just expanding on what Sarah mentioned there. So, and going back to my previous presentation, so we have 24/7 staff, and that's security staff at every hall site, and we also have the 24/7 security on the main campus, and that's then complemented by the 24/7 student life team. So we have a variety of staff to support if anything did occur. But as Sarah mentioned, it does really feel like a sort of safe surroundings around the halls. But it is still a major city with hundreds of thousands of people living here, so it always brings the general hustle and bustle of a large city. But yes, if anyone ever had any concerns and wanted to report any issues, we've always got wellbeing staff and security staff on hand to support with that.
Carl, you're on mute, just to let you know. Sorry, always digital stuff that catches us out.
Would help if you could hear me. We'll do just a few more quick questions, and then we'll be coming towards the end of the session. So I think we just kind of touched on earlier, but if I hand this over to you, Trudy, are there secure lockable areas for bikes and motorbikes by each accommodation building?
There are secure lockable bike stores on every site. I think we mentioned that earlier. There's plenty of secure places. With regard to motorbikes, actually, it is just standard parking. So you can have a motorbike, but you will need a permit for it. And if you're given a permit, then you will need to just park that in one of the normal car parking bays. There's not necessarily any additional infrastructure for motorbikes.
Cool. Thank you, Trudy. Last one. Can I bring a bearded dragon to halls? So in terms of just generally pets, you cannot bring pets into halls. The only exception to that was if it was a support animal, but you would need to liaise with our enabling team on that, and you'd need to let us know beforehand, and it would have to come from a registered supplier isn't the word, but that's the one I'm going to use because I can't think of a better one. But yes, general rule is you cannot have pets in halls. Actually, if I just pick up this last one about additional requirements, like if you're a parent, what I'd say is all our accommodation covered by a guarantee is single kind of occupancy, but we do have some family accommodation and some 1-bed flats and 2-bed flats for families or students with children. So there are options along that that route as well. So what I would say is it's not guaranteed, but we do have limited this type of accommodation is limited. But again, we do house a number of students with families or with children each year, and it's they're not all kind of, you won't find that accommodation is next to an undergraduate flat. So again, don't worry like thinking that you're going to be there with a young child and next door there's going to be a flat full of 18-year-olds potentially going on a night out just as you've got your child to sleep. So again, they're in the suitable areas. So I think we've overrun slightly anyway, but as I said, we tried to get through as many of your questions as possible. Thank you so much for those, everyone who pre-submitted and put questions in during the session itself. Reminder that you can still register for sessions throughout the rest of the week. So if you haven't done so already, please do so. Again, the key things to take away from today is applications are currently live. Between now and the 1st of August deadline, as long as you get your application in, you're guaranteed that offer of accommodation. All our sessions recorded, as is this one. So again, if you want to watch it or if you missed part of it, you can rewatch it on our, and that will be on the event website very shortly. So just leaves me to say thank you very much for everyone who attended today. Thank you for all your questions. Thanks to everyone on the panel. So we try to get through as many of your questions as possible. Any we didn't get through, we will try and answer and say either we will put that into document that answers all those questions, or we may even try and get a video together in the next few days that to answer any questions that we missed. So once again, thank you very much for today, and we will hopefully see you later in the week.